The invisible kingdom awakens. Close your eyes for a moment. Right now, in this very second, something extraordinary is happening inside your body. Not in your brain, not in your heart alone, but everywhere. In your gut, along your skin, deep within your respiratory system, trillions of living beings are working. They are not you, yet they are undeniably part of you. They breathe when you breathe. They sleep when you sleep. They wake when you wake. And tonight, as you rest your conscious mind, they will begin their most intensive labor. Have you ever wondered what truly happens when you close your eyes? Most people believe sleep is simply rest, a pause in the day's activities, a time when your body shuts down and waits for morning. But this understanding misses something profound, something that transforms our entire conception of what it means to be human. Sleep is not emptiness. Sleep is not silence. Sleep is a time of extraordinary activation, of invisible orchestration, of a civilization within your body performing tasks so intricate that no factory, no machine, no conscious effort could ever replicate them. You are not alone in your body. This is not metaphor. This is literal biological truth. Within you lives a kingdom of microorganisms so vast, so complex, so essential to your survival that without them you would not be you. These are not invaders. They are not parasites stealing from you. They are partners. They are workers. They are architects of your health, engineers of your consciousness, and guardians of your immune system. And their work intensifies precisely when you think nothing is happening. Before we journey deeper into this invisible world, I invite you to join us on this exploration. Subscribe to the Relaxing Science channel, give this video a like, and if you are comfortable sharing, tell us below. Where are you right now? And what time is it where you are? We want to know who is listening to us across the world, in different time zones, all discovering together the secret life that unfolds within us while we rest. The promise of this experience is simple but transformative. By the time we finish, you will understand that health is not something that happens in a doctor's office or in a pharmacy. Health is a conversation. It is a dance between you and the trillions of beings that have chosen your body as their home. You will learn how dysbiosis, an imbalance in this microbial community, can trigger depression, obesity, and autoimmune disease. You will discover that true wellness is not the absence of illness, but the presence of harmony. You will realize that your sleep, your food choices, your stress levels, and your antibiotics are not just affecting you. They are affecting an entire civilization. Imagine your body as a vast city. Picture the streets, the buildings, the infrastructure. Now understand that every single structure in this city was built not by you, but by residents so small you cannot see them without a microscope. They paved the roads of your digestive system. They built the walls of your intestines. They maintain the electrical systems of your nervous connections. And they do this work not because they are forced, but because they benefit from it. This is symbiosis at its most extreme. This is life within life, consciousness within consciousness, purpose within purpose. The microbes that live within you are not random visitors. They have evolved alongside your species for millions of years. They know you. They have adapted to you. They understand your rhythms. When you eat, they respond. When you stress, they respond. When you sleep, they respond. They are reading signals from your body constantly, and your body is reading signals from them. This two-way communication is so sophisticated, so nuanced, that scientists are still discovering new layers of this conversation. During sleep, this communication intensifies. Your conscious mind rests, your guard lowers, and the microbial world springs into action. They process the food you consume during the day, breaking it down in ways your own digestive enzymes cannot. They synthesize vitamins that your cells desperately need. They communicate with your immune system, teaching it which threats are real and which are harmless. They produce neurotransmitters that influence your mood, your anxiety levels, your capacity for joy. They regulate your metabolism, determining whether the calories you consumed will be stored or burned. They influence your hunger signals, your satiety, your cravings. This is not science fiction. This is not speculation. This is measurable, observable, reproducible biological fact. Yet most people navigate their entire lives without understanding this reality. They take antibiotics without knowing they are destroying their internal civilization. They modify their diet without realizing they are changing the food supply of trillions of beings. They stress and wonder why their digestion fails, never understanding that stress is a signal that travels through their microbiota, like an alarm through a city. They cannot sleep and take medications, never realizing that their microbial imbalance might be the root cause. The journey we are about to take together will shift your understanding of what health means. It will help you see yourself not as an isolated individual, but as an ecosystem. It will show you that the decisions you make about food, sleep, stress, and medicine are ecological decisions affecting an entire world within you. And it will reveal that true healing is not about fighting against your body or against the beings within it, but about restoring balance, about listening to the signals, about creating conditions where this invisible kingdom can thrive. As you listen to these words, your breathing is slowing, your heartbeat is becoming more regular, the tension in your shoulders is beginning to release. This is not accidental. This is not separate from what we are discussing. Your nervous system is already beginning to shift. Your body is already beginning to prepare for the deep work that sleep will bring. The act of understanding these truths, of shifting your perspective, of opening yourself to the reality of this invisible world, is itself a form of healing. So, settle in, get comfortable, find a position where your body feels supported, and know that everything we explore together tonight is designed not just to inform your conscious mind, but to help your body relax into the knowledge that it is held, supported and sustained by forces far greater than itself. You are not alone. You have never been alone. And the beings within you are working right now to ensure that tomorrow you wake refreshed, balanced, and whole. The census of life. Let us begin with numbers, but numbers that transform into wonder. Inside your body right now, at this very moment, there exist approximately 37 trillion cells. This number itself is staggering, incomprehensible. If you tried to count to 37 trillion, counting one number per second without stopping for food, sleep, or rest, it would take you over 1 million years. Your body contains structures so numerous that our minds struggle to grasp the scale. But here is the revelation that shifts everything. The number of microbial cells living within you is roughly equal to the number of human cells. Some estimates suggest the ratio is even closer to 1:1. In other words, you are not just human. You are a partnership. You are a colony. You are a superorganism. These trillions of microbes are not distributed randomly. They have organized themselves through millions of years of evolution into distinct communities in different regions of your body. Each location has its own climate, its own chemical environment, its own resources. Each location has therefore attracted different species, different strains, different populations. This is ecological diversity at a microscopic level. Your mouth hosts a different community than your skin. Your skin hosts a different community than your lungs. Your lungs host a different community than your stomach. And your stomach hosts a different community than your colon. But the colon is the metropolis, the great city where the most diverse and numerous population thrives. The colon, that final section of your digestive tract, contains approximately 100 trillion bacterial cells. This single organ houses more living beings than there are stars in thousands of galaxies. The density of life in this space is almost incomprehensible. These are not bacteria floating randomly in liquid. They have formed biofilms, organized communities that work together as coordinated units. They communicate with each other through a process called quorum sensing, literally checking in with each other to determine their population size and coordinate their activities. When the population reaches a certain threshold, they trigger collective behaviors. They are not conscious in the way we understand consciousness. Yet they exhibit something that looks remarkably like decision-making, like cooperation, like strategy. The diversity within your colon is equally stunning. A healthy human microbiome contains somewhere between 500 and 1,000 different species of bacteria. 500 to 1,000 distinct types of living organisms, each with different genetic codes, different metabolic capabilities, different roles within the ecosystem. This is not a monoculture. This is a rainforest. This is a coral reef. This is a complex ecosystem where thousands of species coexist in intricate relationships of competition, cooperation, and mutual dependence. Some species are competitors, fighting for the same food. Some species are cooperators, working together to break down complex molecules that neither could break down alone. Some species are predators, consuming other bacteria and keeping populations in check. Some species are producers, creating resources that other species depend upon. The diversity of your microbiota is actually a marker of health. Scientists have discovered that people with low microbial diversity tend to suffer from more diseases. They are more susceptible to infections. They have higher rates of obesity. They experience more depression and anxiety. They have more autoimmune conditions. Conversely, people with high microbial diversity tend to be healthier, more resilient, more stable. A diverse microbiota is like a diverse economy or a diverse ecosystem. It is more resilient to shocks. If one species is affected by a problem, other species can compensate. If one food source disappears, other species can adapt. If one disease strikes, the diversity provides protection. Your skin hosts a different but equally important microbial community. The surface of your skin is not smooth and lifeless. It is a landscape of mountains and valleys, of oil glands and sweat glands, of hair follicles and pores. This landscape is covered with bacteria, fungi, and viruses. These microbes on your skin serve crucial functions. They produce antimicrobial compounds that protect you from pathogenic bacteria. They consume sebum, the oily substance produced by your skin glands preventing buildup. They help regulate pH, keeping your skin slightly acidic, which discourages dangerous organisms. When you wash excessively with antibacterial soaps, you are not just cleaning your skin. You are disrupting this protective community, removing the guardians that keep you safe. Your respiratory system also hosts a rich microbial community. From your nose to your lungs, trillions of microbes reside. Your nasal passages have bacteria that produce nitric oxide, a molecule that helps dilate blood vessels and improve oxygen absorption in your lungs. Your lungs contain bacteria that interact with your immune system, training it to respond appropriately to threats. These are not invaders, they are residents. They have been there so long that your immune system recognizes them as self, as part of you. When you use antibiotics, even those prescribed for a throat infection, you are affecting these communities. The antibiotics kill not just the pathogenic bacteria causing your infection, but also these beneficial residents. Your mouth is another fascinating ecosystem. Your saliva contains antimicrobial compounds, enzymes that begin breaking down food, and proteins that feed your oral microbes. These microbes produce lactic acid, which helps prevent tooth decay. They produce compounds that give your breath its characteristic smell. They communicate with your immune system. They influence whether you develop cavities. Yet most people treat their mouth as something to sterilize, using strong mouthwashes that kill everything indiscriminately. In doing so, they disrupt the balance that actually protects them. Even your urinary tract, which we often think of as sterile, actually contains a microbiota. For decades, medical science assumed the urinary tract was supposed to be completely bacteria-free. But newer research has discovered that healthy urine actually contains microbes, and that some of these microbes may actually protect against urinary tract infections. The presence of these microbes is not infection, it is colonization, it is partnership, it is protection. Your microbiota is also connected to your genetics in ways that are still being discovered. Your genes determine which microbes can survive in your body. They influence the chemistry of your gut, the pH of your digestive tract, the molecules you produce that either feed or starve certain microbes. But the relationship is bidirectional. Your microbes influence which of your genes are expressed. They produce metabolites that affect how your DNA is read and interpreted. In this way, your microbiota is not just a collection of inhabitants. It is part of your extended genome. It is an external genetic library that you carry with you. The stability of this microbial community is remarkable. Most people's microbiota remains relatively constant throughout their adult life, despite the constant introduction of new microbes through food and environment. This is because the established community is resilient. The dominant species, the ones that are already established, have advantages. They know the environment. They have already adapted. They have already formed cooperative networks. A new microbe arriving from food has to compete with this established order. Most cannot. Most are killed by antimicrobial compounds produced by the established community. Most are outcompeted for nutrients. Most simply pass through and are eliminated. This stability is a feature, not a bug. It means your microbiota provides continuity, consistency, reliability. The same microbes that were helping you digest food yesterday are helping you today. The same bacteria that were training your immune system last week are training it this week. This consistency allows complex relationships to develop. It allows for specialization. Some microbes become specialists in breaking down specific nutrients. Others become specialists in producing specific vitamins. Others become specialists in communicating with your immune system. This specialization is only possible because of the stability and diversity of the community. Yet, this stability can also become a liability if the community becomes imbalanced. A microbiota that has lost diversity can become stable in an unhealthy state. It can be composed primarily of species that promote inflammation, that produce toxic metabolites, that communicate poorly with your immune system. This unhealthy stability is dysbiosis. It is not a transient condition. It is a new equilibrium, a new normal that your body has adapted to. And breaking out of this state requires not just the introduction of new microbes, but the creation of conditions that allow diversity to flourish again. The Midnight Factory. When you fall asleep, your conscious mind enters a state of reduced awareness. Your thinking slows. Your attention turns inward. Your body temperature drops slightly. Your digestive system shifts gears, and your microbiota, sensing these changes through chemical signals, begins a transformation. The factory awakens. The night shift begins. The work that cannot be done during the day when your conscious mind is active and your digestive system is processing food in real time now becomes possible. Your microbes are metabolic artists. They are capable of breaking down molecules that your own digestive enzymes cannot touch. When you eat food, particularly complex carbohydrates like fiber, these molecules pass through your stomach and small intestine relatively unchanged. Your human digestive system is not equipped to break them down, but your microbes are. As these fibers reach your colon, your bacteria begin their work. They use specialized enzymes, genetic instructions passed down through millions of years of evolution, to break these complex molecules into simpler ones. This process is called fermentation. It is not a simple process. It involves dozens of steps, multiple bacterial species working in sequence, each one breaking down the products of the previous species, each one creating resources for the next. During fermentation, your microbes produce short-chain fatty acids. These are among the most important molecules your body produces. Butyrate is one of these short-chain fatty acids. It is the preferred fuel of your colon cells. It reduces inflammation. It strengthens the barrier between your gut and your bloodstream, preventing harmful molecules from crossing into your circulation. Propionate is another short-chain fatty acid. It travels to your liver and influences your metabolism, affecting how your body stores fat and produces energy. Acetate is the third major short-chain fatty acid. It circulates throughout your body, affecting your brain, your heart, your metabolism. These short-chain fatty acids are produced primarily during sleep and during periods of fasting. When you eat frequently, when you consume easily digestible foods, when you do not give your digestive system a rest, this fermentation process is interrupted. The microbes do not have time to do their full work. They do not produce adequate short-chain fatty acids. Your colon cells become inflamed. Your intestinal barrier weakens. Your metabolism becomes dysfunctional. Your brain does not receive the chemical signals it needs for proper mood regulation. But when you sleep, when you fast, when you eat foods rich in fiber, the fermentation process can proceed fully. Your microbes can do their work. The factory can operate at full capacity. The fermentation process also produces gases. Hydrogen, carbon dioxide, and methane are byproducts of bacterial metabolism. Most people think of these gases as waste, as undesirable. But they serve functions. Some of these gases are absorbed by your colon and affect your physiology. Others are exhaled through your breath. Some are expelled as flatulence. This is completely normal. It is a sign that your microbes are working, that fermentation is occurring, that your microbiota is active and healthy. People who experience no gas at all, who have completely silent digestive systems, often have dysbiosis, an imbalanced microbiota that is not functioning properly. During sleep, your microbes are also busy extracting nutrients from food that your human digestive system cannot access. Certain minerals, certain amino acids, certain vitamins are locked away in plant cell walls or in complex molecular structures. Your human enzymes cannot reach them, but your microbes can. They break down the barriers. They liberate these nutrients. They make them available for absorption by your colon cells. In this way, your microbes are not competing with you for nutrition. They are enhancing your nutrition. They are making your food more nutritious than it would be if you tried to digest it alone. Your microbes also produce vitamins that your body cannot make on its own. Your human genetic code does not include instructions for synthesizing certain B vitamins, certain amino acids, certain other essential compounds. But your microbial genetic code does. Your microbes carry genes that you do not have. They carry instructions for chemical reactions that your cells cannot perform. In this way, your microbiota is an external genetic library. It is a library of capabilities that extends your own genetics. Without this library, you would suffer from deficiencies. With it, you thrive. The fermentation that occurs during sleep is particularly intense because your digestive system is not processing new food. The food from your dinner has moved into your colon. Your microbes have access to it. They can work without interruption. They can break it down completely, extracting every possible nutrient, producing the maximum amount of short-chain fatty acids. This is why eating close to bedtime is problematic. If you eat a large meal just before sleep, your digestive system is still actively processing this food when you sleep. Your microbes cannot do their fermentation work fully. Your sleep is disturbed. Your digestive system does not rest, and the benefits of sleep are diminished. This is also why fasting, or eating your dinner earlier in the evening, can improve sleep quality. When you finish eating several hours before bed, your digestive system has time to move the food into your colon before you sleep. Your microbes have access to it. They can ferment it fully during the night. You wake with the process complete. Your microbes have produced their short-chain fatty acids. Your colon has been nourished. Your metabolism has been regulated. Your brain has received the chemical signals it needs. The microbes also change their activity based on circadian rhythms. Just like your body has internal clocks that regulate your sleep-wake cycle, your microbes have internal clocks too. These microbial clocks are synchronized with your circadian rhythms through chemical signals. When it is night, when your body temperature drops, when your cortisol levels drop, your microbes sense these changes. They shift their metabolism. They become more active in certain processes, less active in others. This circadian synchronization is crucial for health. When your circadian rhythms are disrupted, when you work night shifts, when you travel across time zones, your microbial clocks become desynchronized. The factory operates on the wrong schedule. It produces the wrong products at the wrong times, and your health suffers. The fermentation process also influences your immune system during sleep. The short-chain fatty acids produced by fermentation signal your immune system. They tell your immune cells that there is no threat, that the intestinal barrier is strong, that the community is healthy. This signaling occurs primarily during sleep, when your immune system is in a receptive state, when the constant input from your conscious activities has quieted. Your immune system can listen to these messages. It can adjust its responses. It can tone down inflammation. It can increase tolerance for harmless molecules. This immune training, this calibration that occurs during sleep, is essential for preventing both immune deficiency and immune excess, both susceptibility to infection and autoimmune disease. Architects of vitamins. Your microbes are not merely processors of food. They are manufacturers. They are alchemists transforming raw materials into precious compounds. Among their most important products are vitamins. Vitamins are organic molecules that your body cannot manufacture on its own, but desperately needs for survival. Without them, you would develop deficiency diseases. Your cells would malfunction, your metabolism would fail, your immune system would collapse. You would become ill and eventually die. Yet for thousands of years, humans have assumed that vitamins come only from food, that the only way to obtain them is to eat plants or animals that contain them. But this understanding misses a crucial truth. Many of the vitamins you need are manufactured inside your body, not by your own cells, but by your microbes. Consider B vitamins. These are a family of 8 distinct molecules, each with different functions, each essential for different aspects of your metabolism. B1, also called thiamine, is necessary for your nervous system to function properly. B2, also called riboflavin, is essential for energy production. B3, also called niacin, is necessary for DNA repair and energy metabolism. B5, also called pantothenic acid, is involved in hormone production. B6 is necessary for neurotransmitter synthesis, the creation of the chemical messengers that allow your brain cells to communicate. B7, also called biotin, is important for hair, skin, and nail health. B9, also called folate, is crucial for cell division and DNA synthesis. B12 is absolutely essential for nerve function and red blood cell formation. Your microbes synthesize B vitamins constantly. They do this as a byproduct of their own metabolism. They are not doing it as a favor to you. They are doing it because they need these vitamins too. But the vitamins they produce in excess, the surplus beyond what they need, is absorbed by your colon. It enters your bloodstream. It circulates throughout your body. It becomes available for your cells to use. In this way, your microbes are supplementing your diet. They are filling in gaps that your food alone might not provide. This is particularly true for B12. This vitamin is almost entirely absent from plant sources. It is found primarily in animal products. Vegetarians and vegans are often told they must supplement with B12 or consume fortified foods. But this is only partially true. Your microbes produce B12. If your microbiota is healthy and diverse, if you consume adequate fiber to support fermentation, you may produce enough B12 to meet your needs. However, many people with dysbiosis, with imbalanced microbiota, do not produce enough. They become deficient. They develop symptoms of B12 deficiency, symptoms that doctors often treat with supplements or injections, never realizing that the underlying issue is dysbiosis. The same is true for folate, also called B9. Folate is essential during pregnancy for fetal development. Low folate is associated with neural tube defects, with serious birth defects. Pregnant women are advised to supplement with folic acid, the synthetic form of folate. But your microbes produce folate naturally. A woman with a healthy microbiota may produce adequate folate through her microbial partners, but a woman with dysbiosis may not. She becomes deficient. She needs supplementation, but if she could restore her microbiota, she might not need the supplement at all. Your microbes also synthesize vitamin K. This vitamin is actually a family of related molecules with different functions. Vitamin K1 comes primarily from green leafy vegetables. Vitamin K2 is synthesized by microbes. Vitamin K is essential for blood clotting. Without it, you would bleed excessively from minor injuries. But vitamin K also has other functions. It is involved in bone metabolism, in cardiovascular health, in cellular signaling. Some research suggests that vitamin K deficiency is involved in osteoporosis, in cardiovascular disease, in other chronic conditions. Your microbes produce vitamin K2 during fermentation, during the breakdown of dietary fibers. But if your microbiota is imbalanced, if you do not have the species that produce vitamin K2, you may become deficient. The synthesis of these vitamins by your microbes is not random. It is coordinated. Different species specialize in different vitamins. Some bacteria are specialists in B12 production. Others are specialists in B9 production. Others are specialists in vitamin K2 production. This specialization is possible only because of the diversity of your microbiota. If your microbiota is low in diversity, if you have lost species, you may have lost the specialists who produce certain vitamins. You become deficient, your cells malfunction. You develop symptoms that you might not even recognize as deficiency. The bioavailability of these microbially produced vitamins is also important. Bioavailability refers to how much of a nutrient your body can actually absorb and use. When your microbes produce vitamins, these vitamins are produced in the colon, right at the site where they can be absorbed. Your colon cells have transporters, specialized proteins that recognize these vitamins and pull them across the intestinal barrier into your bloodstream. The vitamins produced by your microbes are therefore highly bioavailable. They are efficiently absorbed. They reach your cells quickly. This is different from vitamins obtained from food. Vitamins in food must be extracted during digestion. They must survive the acidic environment of your stomach. They must be recognized by your small intestine. They must be transported across the intestinal barrier. Many of them are lost in this process. Some are degraded by stomach acid. Some are not recognized by your intestinal transporters. Some are excreted in your feces. The bioavailability of food vitamins is therefore lower than the bioavailability of microbially produced vitamins. During sleep, the production of vitamins by your microbes accelerates. This is because sleep is when fermentation is most active. Sleep is when your microbes have the time and resources to do their complete metabolic work. You sleep, and your microbes work, producing the vitamins that your cells will use throughout the next day. This is why sleep deprivation is associated with vitamin deficiency symptoms, with poor skin health, with weak immunity, with cognitive decline. You are not sleeping enough for your microbes to produce enough vitamins. You are not giving your microbial partners the time they need to do their work. This is also why certain antibiotics can cause vitamin deficiency. Antibiotics kill bacteria. They do not distinguish between harmful bacteria and beneficial bacteria. They kill indiscriminately. In doing so, they eliminate species that produce vitamins. A person takes an antibiotic for an infection. The infection is cured, but they have also eliminated the bacteria that produce B12 or folate or vitamin K2. They develop deficiency symptoms months later. They might be prescribed supplements, but they might not be told that their microbiota was damaged, that they have lost the ability to produce these vitamins internally, that they may need to restore their microbiota to regain this capability. The vitamins produced by your microbes are also used for the microbes' own growth and reproduction. So there is a competition between your needs and your microbes' needs, but this is not a problem. It is an elegant system. Your microbes produce vitamins for themselves. They use some, they produce excess. You absorb the excess. Your microbes benefit from the vitamin production. You benefit from the vitamin production. Both parties benefit. This is the essence of symbiosis. The immune parliament. Your immune system is not a simple security force, patrolling your body and attacking anything that looks dangerous. It is far more sophisticated. It is a parliament, a deliberative body that must make complex decisions about what to attack and what to tolerate. It must distinguish between dangerous pathogens that threaten your survival and harmless molecules that pose no threat. It must learn from experience. It must remember previous encounters. It must adjust its responses based on new information. This is an enormously complex task, and your microbiota is essential for helping your immune system accomplish it. Approximately 70% of your immune cells are located in your gut. This is not accidental. Your gut is where new substances enter your body. It is where your food is processed. It is where potential pathogens might enter. It is the frontier between your internal environment and the external world. Your immune system has therefore concentrated its cells in this location. But these immune cells do not attack everything indiscriminately. They are trained, they are educated, and much of this education comes from your microbiota. Your microbes communicate with your immune cells through multiple channels. They produce molecules that your immune cells recognize. They present antigens, molecular patterns that your immune cells can learn to recognize. They produce metabolites like short-chain fatty acids that signal to your immune cells. These signals tell your immune system, this is a friend, this is part of the normal community. Do not attack, tolerate. This signaling occurs continuously. Throughout the day and night, your microbes are sending these tolerant signals to your immune system. Your immune cells are learning. They are being trained to recognize your microbiota as self. as part of your body, as something to protect rather than attack. This immune training is particularly intensive during sleep. When you sleep, your immune system enters a different mode of operation. It is less focused on immediate threats. It is more receptive to learning and adaptation. Your microbes are sending their signals during sleep. Your immune cells are listening and learning. This immune education that occurs during sleep is crucial for maintaining immune tolerance, for preventing your immune system from attacking your own tissues, for maintaining the balance between immune activation and immune tolerance. Different species of bacteria trigger different immune responses. Some bacteria are strong activators of immune responses. They trigger your immune system to produce antimicrobial compounds, to activate inflammation, to attack potential threats. Other bacteria are tolerogenic. They trigger your immune system to produce anti-inflammatory molecules. They promote the development of regulatory immune cells, cells whose job is to calm down immune responses, to prevent excessive inflammation. A healthy microbiota contains a balance of these different types. Some bacteria activate, some bacteria tolerate. The activation and tolerance signals balance each other out. Your immune system remains calm but vigilant. When your microbiota becomes imbalanced, when you lose the tolerogenic bacteria, when the activating bacteria dominate, your immune system becomes overstimulated. It starts seeing threats everywhere. It produces excessive inflammation. It attacks harmless molecules. It attacks your own tissues. This is the beginning of autoimmune disease. The immune system has lost its ability to distinguish self from non-self. The parliament has become dominated by hawks, by cells that want to attack everything. The doves, the cells that want to tolerate and calm down, have been silenced. Your microbes also produce specific molecules that directly interact with your immune cells. Lipopolysaccharides are molecules found in the outer membranes of gram-negative bacteria. These molecules are recognized by receptors on your immune cells called toll-like receptors. When your immune cells encounter lipopolysaccharides, they receive a signal. Bacteria are present. But the response depends on context. If the bacteria are your normal microbiota, if the lipopolysaccharides come from inside your colon, where they are supposed to be, your immune response is mild and tolerant. If the lipopolysaccharides come from a pathogenic bacterium that has invaded your bloodstream, your immune response is intense and aggressive. This context-dependent recognition is crucial. It allows your immune system to tolerate your microbiota while still being able to mount an attack against invading pathogens. But this fine-tuning depends on your microbiota being healthy and in the right location. When your intestinal barrier becomes damaged, when dysbiosis occurs, when harmful bacteria start producing lipopolysaccharides in excessive amounts, your immune system becomes confused. It starts attacking these molecules even when they come from your own microbiota. It starts treating your microbiota as an enemy. Chronic inflammation develops. Your immune system is in a constant state of activation. Your microbes also train your immune system through a process called molecular mimicry avoidance. Many pathogenic bacteria contain molecular patterns that are similar to patterns found in your own tissues. If your immune system attacks the bacterial pattern, it might also attack your own tissues. This could lead to autoimmune disease. Your beneficial microbiota contains different patterns. They do not resemble your own tissues. By training your immune system to recognize the patterns of your beneficial microbiota, your immune system learns what your own tissues look like. It learns to tolerate these patterns. When a pathogenic bacterium arrives with a similar pattern to your own tissues, your immune system is already educated. It recognizes the danger. It attacks the pathogen without attacking your own tissues. This immune education is not instantaneous. It takes time. It requires repeated exposure. It requires the constant presence of your microbiota. This is why newborns are so vulnerable to infection. They do not yet have an established microbiota. Their immune system has not yet been trained. It takes months to years for a microbiota to establish itself fully. During this time, the infant is learning what is self and what is non-self. The infant is being educated by the microbes that have colonized their body. During sleep, this immune education continues and deepens. Your immune cells are more receptive to learning during sleep. The signals from your microbiota are more clearly heard. Your immune system adjusts its responses. It tunes its tolerance. It calibrates its activation thresholds. This is why sleep deprivation is so damaging to immune function. You are not giving your immune system time to be educated. You are not giving your immune cells time to listen to the signals from your microbiota. Your immune system becomes dysregulated. It loses its ability to distinguish self from non-self. Infection risk increases. Autoimmune risk increases. Before we continue deeper into the darker aspects of dysbiosis, I'd like to know, where are you listening from right now? And what time is it where you are? Are you preparing for sleep? Or are you already resting? Your environment, your time of day, your readiness for sleep, all influence how your body receives this information. Your microbes are listening to these signals too. They are adjusting their activities based on your circadian rhythm, based on your stress level, based on your state of mind. We are all connected in ways both visible and invisible. When harmony breaks, imagine a kingdom that has existed in perfect balance for years. The citizens are healthy, the resources are abundant, the laws are just, the government is stable. But then something changes. Perhaps a drought strikes, perhaps a disease arrives, perhaps a civil war begins. The delicate balance that maintained order begins to fracture. Resources become scarce. Conflict emerges. Strong factions dominate. Weak ones disappear. The kingdom transforms into something unrecognizable. This is dysbiosis. This is what happens when your microbial community becomes imbalanced. Dysbiosis is not a single condition. It is a spectrum. It is a state where the balance of your microbial community has shifted. The diversity has decreased. The dominant species have changed. The functions that your microbiota performs have altered. Some species have become overgrown. Others have been eliminated. The ecosystem has reorganized itself into a new configuration. This new configuration might be stable, but it is not healthy. It produces different metabolites than a healthy microbiota. It communicates different signals to your immune system. It influences your metabolism differently. It affects your mood and cognition differently. The causes of dysbiosis are multiple. Antibiotics are a major cause. When you take an antibiotic, it kills bacteria. It does not distinguish between harmful and beneficial bacteria. It kills both. Most of your beneficial bacteria are killed. Some survive. Some new bacteria from your environment colonize the space left behind. But the result is a microbiota that is different from before. It has lower diversity. It is dominated by antibiotic-resistant species. It may include species that were previously rare. The new configuration might be stable, but it is often less healthy than the original configuration. This is particularly true for broad-spectrum antibiotics, antibiotics that kill many different species. A course of broad-spectrum antibiotics can dramatically alter your microbiota. Studies have shown that it can take months or even years for your microbiota to recover to its original state after a single course of antibiotics. And if you take multiple courses of antibiotics, the damage accumulates. Your microbiota becomes progressively less diverse. It becomes progressively less healthy. Diet is another major cause of dysbiosis. Your microbes depend on the food you eat. Specifically, they depend on fiber. Fiber is a carbohydrate that your human digestive enzymes cannot break down. It passes through your small intestine unchanged and reaches your colon intact. Your microbes ferment this fiber, breaking it down, using it as fuel. But if you eat a diet low in fiber, if you consume primarily processed foods, refined carbohydrates, and animal products, your microbes have little to ferment. They starve. The species that are specialized in fermenting fiber cannot survive. They disappear. Other species that can survive on the limited resources available begin to dominate. The microbiota becomes dominated by species that ferment simple sugars, that produce less beneficial metabolites, that communicate poorly with your immune system. Stress is another major cause of dysbiosis. When you experience stress, your body produces stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones affect your microbiota. They change the pH of your digestive tract. They alter the mucus layer that protects your intestinal barrier. They affect the blood flow to your gut. They influence the immune signals that reach your microbiota. Your microbes sense these changes. They adjust their behavior. Species that thrive in a stressed environment begin to dominate. Species that prefer a calm environment decline. The microbiota shifts toward a dysbiotic configuration. Sleep deprivation is another major cause. When you do not sleep enough, when your circadian rhythms are disrupted, your microbiota becomes dysbiotic. This is because your microbes have their own circadian rhythms. They are synchronized with your circadian rhythms through chemical signals. When your circadian rhythms are disrupted, your microbial clocks become desynchronized. They are operating on the wrong schedule. They are producing metabolites at the wrong times. They are not communicating properly with your immune system. The dysbiosis that develops from sleep deprivation is particularly pernicious because it then makes sleep worse. It becomes a vicious cycle. Excessive alcohol consumption is another cause. Alcohol damages your intestinal barrier. It kills some species of bacteria while promoting others. It causes dysbiosis. Certain medications other than antibiotics can cause dysbiosis. Proton pump inhibitors, medications that reduce stomach acid, can alter your microbiota. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs can damage your intestinal barrier. Hormonal contraceptives can alter your microbiota. These medications can be necessary, but their effects on your microbiota should be understood and mitigated if possible. The early signs of dysbiosis are often subtle. You might notice changes in your digestion. You might have less gas, which sounds positive, but is actually a sign that fermentation is not occurring properly. You might have bloating or cramping. You might experience constipation or diarrhea. You might notice changes in your skin, acne or eczema developing or worsening. You might experience increased anxiety or depression. You might notice changes in your hunger and satiety signals. You might start craving sugary foods. You might gain weight despite not eating more. You might develop food intolerances, experiencing digestive distress after eating foods that never bothered you before. These early signs are often dismissed as unrelated to each other. A person might take antibiotics for an infection. Weeks later, they develop digestive problems. They are prescribed medications for their digestion. Months later, they develop anxiety. They are prescribed medications for anxiety. Months later, they develop skin problems. They are prescribed medications for their skin. No one connects these symptoms. No one recognizes that they all stem from dysbiosis, from the same underlying imbalance in their microbiota. The person is treated symptomatically, with multiple medications, none of which address the root cause. As dysbiosis progresses, the symptoms become more severe. The intestinal barrier becomes increasingly damaged. Harmful molecules leak from your colon into your bloodstream. Your immune system becomes increasingly dysregulated. Chronic inflammation develops. Autoimmune diseases emerge. Metabolic dysfunction deepens. Depression and anxiety become severe. The microbiota becomes increasingly imbalanced. The species that promote health have been mostly eliminated. The species that promote disease have come to dominate. The dysbiosis becomes severe, entrenched, difficult to reverse. The dysbiotic microbiota produces different metabolites than a healthy microbiota. Instead of producing short-chain fatty acids that reduce inflammation and nourish your colon cells, dysbiotic bacteria produce other metabolites. Some of these metabolites are toxic. They damage your intestinal barrier. They trigger inflammation. Some dysbiotic bacteria produce endotoxins, molecules that trigger strong immune activation. Your immune system is constantly activated, constantly inflamed, constantly under siege. Dysbiotic bacteria also communicate differently with your immune system. Instead of sending tolerance signals, they send activation signals. They trigger the production of pro-inflammatory immune molecules. They promote the development of immune cells that attack your own tissues. They silence the development of immune cells that calm down immune responses. The immune system becomes dysregulated. It loses its ability to maintain tolerance. Autoimmune diseases develop. The dysbiotic microbiota also affects your metabolism differently. Many dysbiotic bacteria promote the storage of fat. They produce metabolites that increase hunger. They produce molecules that interfere with your satiety signals. You become metabolically dysregulated. You gain weight even if you are not eating more. You experience constant hunger. You crave sugary foods, your metabolism becomes broken. The depression connection. Depression is often described as a mental illness, a problem of the mind, a disorder of thinking and emotion. People are prescribed antidepressant medications. They are encouraged to think differently, to reframe their thoughts, to challenge their negative beliefs. This approach helps some people, but it does not help everyone. Some people with depression do not respond to antidepressants. Some people find that their depression returns when they stop taking medication. Some people find that their depression is accompanied by physical symptoms, digestive problems, fatigue, pain, inflammation. These people are often told that their physical symptoms are a consequence of their depression, that if they treat their depression, the physical symptoms will resolve. But what if the opposite is true? What if the depression is a consequence of the physical problem? What if dysbiosis is the root cause? The connection between your gut microbiota and your mood was only discovered in the last 2 decades. Scientists noticed that people with dysbiosis had higher rates of depression and anxiety. They noticed that people with depression often had dysbiotic microbiota. They began to investigate the mechanism. How could bacteria in your colon affect your mood? The answer is the gut-brain axis, a bi-directional communication system between your gut and your brain. Your brain is not isolated. It is constantly receiving signals from your body. These signals travel through your nervous system. They travel through your bloodstream. They travel through your immune system. Your gut sends signals to your brain constantly. When your gut is inflamed, when your intestinal barrier is damaged, when your microbiota is dysbiotic, the signals your gut sends to your brain are signals of distress. Your brain receives these signals. It interprets them as danger. It responds by producing stress hormones. It responds by activating your fight or flight system. It responds by altering your mood. Depression and anxiety emerge. The mechanism is partly through the vagus nerve, a nerve that directly connects your gut to your brain. This nerve carries signals in both directions. Your brain sends signals down to your gut, controlling digestion, controlling immune responses, controlling the secretion of mucus. Your gut sends signals up to your brain, informing it about what is happening in your digestive system. When your gut is dysbiotic, when harmful bacteria are present, when your intestinal barrier is damaged, the signals traveling up the vagus nerve to your brain are signals of distress. Your brain responds to these distress signals by altering your mood. But there is another mechanism, perhaps even more important. Your microbiota produces neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are the chemical messengers that allow your brain cells to communicate with each other. Serotonin is one of the most important neurotransmitters for mood regulation. Low serotonin is associated with depression. Antidepressant medications work by increasing serotonin levels. But where does serotonin come from? Most people assume it comes from the brain. But in fact, approximately 90% of your body's serotonin is produced not in your brain, but in your gut. And much of this serotonin is produced by your microbiota. Your microbes produce serotonin as a byproduct of their metabolism. When your microbiota is healthy and diverse, when fermentation is occurring properly, when short-chain fatty acids are being produced, your microbes produce adequate serotonin. This serotonin is absorbed by your colon cells. It enters your bloodstream. It circulates throughout your body. Some of it reaches your brain. It influences your mood. You feel calm, you feel content, you feel happy. But when your microbiota is dysbiotic, when fermentation is not occurring properly, when the species that produce serotonin have been eliminated, your serotonin production decreases. You have less serotonin in your system. Your mood becomes depressed. You experience anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure. You experience fatigue. You experience the symptoms of depression. This is why antidepressant medications, which increase the availability of serotonin in your brain, work for some people with dysbiosis. They are supplementing the lack of serotonin production, but they are not addressing the root cause. They are not restoring your microbiota. They are not restoring your ability to produce serotonin. So when you stop taking the medication, your serotonin levels drop again, and your depression returns. Your microbiota also produces other neurotransmitters. Dopamine is produced by some bacteria. Dopamine is involved in motivation, in reward, in pleasure. Gamma-aminobutyric acid, or GABA, is produced by some bacteria. GABA is the main inhibitory neurotransmitter in your brain. It calms down neural activity. It reduces anxiety. When your microbiota is dysbiotic, when the bacteria that produce dopamine and GABA have been eliminated, you experience depression, anhedonia, anxiety, and agitation. During sleep, the production of neurotransmitters by your microbiota intensifies. This is because fermentation is most active during sleep. Your microbes are breaking down fiber, producing short-chain fatty acids, producing neurotransmitters. These neurotransmitters are circulating through your bloodstream during sleep. They are reaching your brain. They are influencing your sleep quality. They are affecting your dreams. They are determining whether you wake feeling refreshed or depressed. If your microbiota is dysbiotic, if you are not producing adequate neurotransmitters during sleep, your sleep quality suffers. You do not sleep deeply. You do not sleep well. You wake feeling depressed. This depression then causes stress, which further dysbioses your microbiota, which further impairs your sleep, which further worsens your depression. A vicious cycle develops. Your microbiota also influences your stress response through the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, or HPA axis. The HPA axis is your body's main system for responding to stress. When you experience stress, your brain releases corticotropin-releasing hormone. This hormone triggers your pituitary gland to release adrenocorticotropic hormone. This hormone triggers your adrenal glands to release cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone that prepares your body for fight or flight, but your microbiota influences how responsive your HPA axis is to stress. A healthy microbiota produces signals that calm down your HPA axis. A dysbiotic microbiota produces signals that overstimulate your HPA axis. People with dysbiosis often have dysregulated cortisol levels. They might have high cortisol throughout the day when they should have low cortisol. They might have low cortisol at night when they should have high cortisol. This dysregulation disrupts their sleep. It worsens their depression. It increases their anxiety. And it further dysbioses their microbiota, because stress dysbioses your microbiota, and dysbiotic microbiota dysregulate your stress response. Another vicious cycle. Your microbiota also influences your mood through the production of short-chain fatty acids. Butyrate, the most important short-chain fatty acid, has direct effects on your brain. It can cross the blood-brain barrier. It influences the production of neurotrophic factors, molecules that support the growth and survival of your brain cells. It influences the production of anti-inflammatory molecules in your brain. It influences your mood. When you are not producing adequate butyrate because your microbiota is dysbiotic, your brain is not receiving this beneficial signal. Your brain cells are not being supported. Inflammation in your brain increases, depression develops. This is why diet affects mood so profoundly. When you eat a diet rich in fiber, you are feeding your microbiota. Your microbes ferment this fiber. They produce short-chain fatty acids. They produce neurotransmitters. These molecules reach your brain. Your mood improves. When you eat a diet low in fiber, you are starving your microbiota. They cannot ferment. They cannot produce short-chain fatty acids. They cannot produce neurotransmitters. Your mood worsens. The weight of imbalance. Your weight is not determined solely by how much you eat and how much you exercise. This is a common misconception, but it misses crucial biological reality. Your weight is heavily influenced by your metabolism, by how your body processes calories, by how your body stores energy, by how your body signals hunger and satiety. And your metabolism is heavily influenced by your microbiota. When your microbiota is healthy, your metabolism is healthy. When your microbiota is dysbiotic, your metabolism becomes dysregulated. Studies have shown that obese people have different microbiota than lean people. The microbiota of obese individuals has lower diversity. It is dominated by different bacterial species. These bacterial species produce different metabolites. They communicate different signals to your metabolism. In fact, Scientists have done studies where they transplanted the microbiota from obese mice into lean mice. The lean mice, despite eating the same diet and exercising the same amount, gained weight. Their metabolism changed. They became obese. This demonstrates that the microbiota itself, not just the diet, determines metabolic fate. The mechanism involves several pathways. First, your microbiota influences how efficiently you extract calories from your food. Different bacteria break down different molecules at different efficiencies. Some bacteria are very efficient at breaking down certain nutrients. They extract a lot of energy from them. Other bacteria are less efficient. They extract less energy. A dysbiotic microbiota dominated by efficient bacteria will extract more calories from your food than a healthy microbiota. You will absorb more calories from the same meal. You will gain weight more easily. Second, your microbiota influences your hunger and satiety signals. Your microbes produce molecules that activate your satiety signals, that tell your brain you are full. They produce short-chain fatty acids that stimulate the release of peptides that reduce hunger. When your microbiota is healthy, these signals are strong. You feel full, you eat less, you maintain a healthy weight. When your microbiota is dysbiotic, these signals are weak. You do not feel full, you continue eating. You consume more calories, you gain weight. Third, your microbiota influences your glucose metabolism. Your microbes produce metabolites that improve your insulin sensitivity. They produce molecules that reduce inflammation, which improves insulin function. When your microbiota is healthy, your glucose metabolism is healthy. You process glucose efficiently. You do not develop insulin resistance. You do not gain weight around your abdomen. When your microbiota is dysbiotic, your glucose metabolism becomes dysregulated. You develop insulin resistance. Your blood sugar becomes dysregulated. You gain weight, particularly around your abdomen. Fourth, your microbiota influences your fat storage. Some bacteria produce metabolites that promote the storage of fat. Other bacteria produce metabolites that promote the burning of fat. A dysbiotic microbiota, dominated by fat storage-promoting bacteria, will cause you to store more fat. Your body will direct incoming calories toward fat storage rather than toward other uses. You will gain weight more easily. Fifth, your microbiota influences your energy expenditure. Your microbiota influences your metabolism in ways that determine how much energy you burn at rest. A healthy microbiota produces signals that increase your metabolic rate. A dysbiotic microbiota produces signals that decrease your metabolic rate. You burn fewer calories at rest. You gain weight more easily. The dysbiotic microbiota also produces molecules that increase cravings for unhealthy foods. Dysbiotic bacteria produce molecules that mimic hunger signals. They produce molecules that increase your desire for sugar and refined carbohydrates. You experience cravings that feel uncontrollable. You eat foods that further dysbiose your microbiota. A vicious cycle develops. The dysbiotic bacteria promote the consumption of foods that support their growth. You become trapped in a cycle of dysbiosis and weight gain. This is why weight loss is so difficult for people with dysbiosis. They can diet, they can exercise, they can restrict their calories, but their dysbiotic microbiota is working against them. Their microbes are extracting maximum calories from their food. Their hunger signals are dysregulated. Their satiety signals are weak. Their metabolism is slow. They are fighting their own biology. The weight does not come off, or it comes off very slowly, or it comes back quickly after they stop dieting. The solution is not to fight harder, to diet more strictly, to exercise more intensely. The solution is to restore your microbiota. When you restore your microbiota, when you increase diversity, when you promote the growth of beneficial bacteria, your metabolism shifts. Your hunger and satiety signals normalize. Your glucose metabolism improves. Your fat storage decreases. Your energy expenditure increases. Weight loss becomes easier. You can maintain a healthy weight without constant struggle. This transformation happens not overnight, but gradually. As you eat foods rich in fiber, you feed your beneficial bacteria. They begin to flourish, they begin to produce beneficial metabolites. Your metabolism begins to shift. After weeks or months, the change becomes noticeable. Your energy increases, your cravings decrease, your hunger and satiety signals normalize. Weight loss becomes easier. During sleep, your microbiota influences your metabolism in specific ways. During sleep, your body shifts into a fasted state. Your microbes ferment the food from your last meal. They produce short-chain fatty acids. These fatty acids signal to your metabolism that you are in a fed state, that nutrients are available, that energy is being produced. This signal influences your metabolic rate. It influences your fat storage and fat burning. A healthy microbiota produces strong signals during sleep. Your metabolism is optimized. A dysbiotic microbiota produces weak signals. Your metabolism becomes dysregulated. Sleep deprivation also contributes to dysbiosis and weight gain. When you do not sleep enough, your circadian rhythms become dysregulated. Your microbiota becomes dysbiotic. Your metabolism becomes dysregulated. Your hunger and satiety signals become dysregulated. You eat more. You crave unhealthy foods. You gain weight. Sleep deprivation is a major risk factor for obesity. This is why sleep and microbiota health are so interconnected with weight management. You cannot achieve lasting weight loss without addressing your sleep. You cannot achieve lasting weight loss without addressing your microbiota. You cannot address your microbiota without addressing your sleep. They are all interconnected. True weight loss requires addressing all three: diet, sleep, and microbiota restoration. The autoimmune rebellion. Your immune system is designed to protect you from threats: bacteria, viruses, parasites, toxins. But sometimes your immune system becomes confused. It starts attacking things that are not threats. It attacks your own tissues. It attacks harmless molecules. It treats your body as an enemy. This is autoimmune disease, and dysbiosis is often the underlying cause. Autoimmune diseases are becoming increasingly common. Rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, type 1 diabetes, celiac disease, inflammatory bowel disease, multiple sclerosis, thyroid disease. The list is long. These diseases were rare a century ago. Now they are common. Something has changed. And that something is largely dysbiosis. The mechanism of autoimmune disease triggered by dysbiosis is complex, but we can understand the basics. Your immune system learns to recognize your own tissues as self through a process of immune education that occurs in your thymus gland and in your lymph nodes. During this process, immune cells that would attack your own tissues are eliminated. Only immune cells that tolerate your own tissues survive. This is called negative selection. It is crucial for preventing autoimmune disease. But negative selection is not perfect. Some immune cells that can attack your own tissues survive. They are kept in check by regulatory immune cells, cells whose job is to suppress these potentially harmful immune cells. These regulatory cells are created and maintained through signals from your microbiota. When your microbiota is healthy, it produces the signals needed to create and maintain regulatory cells. When your microbiota is dysbiotic, it does not produce these signals. The regulatory cells are not created. They are not maintained. The potentially harmful immune cells are not suppressed. They begin to attack your own tissues. The dysbiotic microbiota also produces molecules that resemble molecules found in your own tissues. This is called molecular mimicry. Your immune system develops antibodies against the dysbiotic bacteria. But these antibodies also recognize similar molecules in your own tissues. So when your immune system attacks the bacteria, it also attacks your own tissues. Autoimmune disease develops. Dysbiotic bacteria also produce endotoxins, molecules that trigger strong immune activation. These endotoxins leak through your damaged intestinal barrier into your bloodstream. Your immune system is constantly activated. It is constantly inflamed. In this state of chronic activation, your immune system is more likely to attack your own tissues. Autoimmune disease develops or worsens. Dysbiotic bacteria also produce metabolites that promote the development of pro-inflammatory immune cells. These are immune cells that produce inflammatory molecules. They promote inflammation. They attack tissues. A dysbiotic microbiota promotes the development of these pro-inflammatory cells. The immune system becomes dominated by pro-inflammatory cells. Autoimmune disease develops. The dysbiotic microbiota also fails to produce the anti-inflammatory metabolites that a healthy microbiota produces. Short-chain fatty acids, in particular, promote the development of regulatory immune cells and anti-inflammatory immune cells. Without these metabolites, these beneficial immune cells are not created. The immune system becomes imbalanced toward inflammation. Dysbiotic bacteria also have different compositions of their cell walls. A healthy microbiota produces bacteria with cell walls that your immune system tolerates. A dysbiotic microbiota produces bacteria with cell walls that your immune system recognizes as threatening. Your immune system mounts attacks against these bacteria, but in the process, it damages your own tissues. The intestinal barrier is also crucial for preventing autoimmune disease. When your intestinal barrier is healthy, it acts as a filter. It allows nutrients to pass through into your bloodstream. It prevents harmful molecules from passing through. But when your intestinal barrier is damaged, it becomes leaky. Harmful molecules pass through. Bacterial endotoxins pass through. Bacterial antigens pass through. These molecules trigger immune activation. Your immune system becomes dysregulated. Autoimmune disease develops. A dysbiotic microbiota damages your intestinal barrier. The bacteria produce molecules that damage the tight junctions that hold your intestinal cells together. The bacteria produce toxins that damage your intestinal cells. The lack of short-chain fatty acids weakens your intestinal barrier. Your intestinal barrier becomes leaky. Harmful molecules leak through. Your immune system becomes dysregulated. Autoimmune disease develops. During sleep, your intestinal barrier is repaired. Your intestinal cells are replaced. New cells grow. Damaged cells are removed. This repair process is mediated by your microbiota. Your microbes produce signals that promote intestinal repair. They produce short-chain fatty acids that nourish your intestinal cells. They produce anti-inflammatory molecules that reduce inflammation. When you sleep, when you give your body time to repair, your intestinal barrier heals. But if your microbiota is dysbiotic, if you are not sleeping enough, if you are stressed, your intestinal barrier cannot repair itself properly. The damage accumulates. Your intestinal barrier becomes progressively leakier. Autoimmune disease develops or worsens. Dysbiosis also affects which immune cells develop in your thymus gland. The thymus gland is where your immune cells are educated, where negative selection occurs, where immune cells that would attack your own tissues are eliminated. Your microbiota influences the thymus gland through metabolites and immune signals. A healthy microbiota promotes healthy immune cell education. A dysbiotic microbiota leads to defective immune cell education. More immune cells that would attack your own tissues survive. Autoimmune disease becomes more likely. Different dysbiotic patterns lead to different autoimmune diseases. A dysbiosis that promotes pro-inflammatory immune cells might lead to rheumatoid arthritis. A dysbiosis that triggers immune cells that attack the pancreas might lead to type 1 diabetes. A dysbiosis that triggers immune cells that attack the nervous system might lead to multiple sclerosis. The specific dysbiotic pattern determines which autoimmune disease develops. This is why autoimmune diseases often run in families. Family members share similar genetic backgrounds. They also share similar microbiota, because microbiota are partially inherited from family members. If one family member develops dysbiosis, other family members are at higher risk of developing the same dysbiosis. They are at higher risk of developing the same autoimmune disease, but genes are not destiny. Identical twins who share the same genes often have different microbiota. They often develop different autoimmune diseases. This shows that dysbiosis, not genes, is the primary determinant of autoimmune disease. Genes might create vulnerability, but dysbiosis is what triggers the disease, restoring the kingdom. If dysbiosis is the root cause of so many modern diseases, the question becomes, how do we restore our microbiota? How do we move from dysbiosis back to health? The answer is not simple. It is not a single pill or a single food. It is a multifaceted approach that addresses the root causes of dysbiosis while actively promoting the growth of beneficial bacteria. The first step is to remove the factors that caused dysbiosis. If you are taking unnecessary antibiotics, stop. If you are drinking excessive alcohol, reduce your consumption. If you are taking medications that dysbiose your microbiota, talk to your doctor about alternatives. If you are under chronic stress, find ways to reduce your stress. If you are not sleeping enough, prioritize sleep. These changes address the root causes. The second step is to feed your beneficial bacteria. Your bacteria depend on fiber, on complex carbohydrates that your human digestive enzymes cannot break down. The best sources of fiber are plants, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. These foods are rich in diverse types of fiber. Different bacteria prefer different types of fiber. By eating a variety of plant foods, you feed a variety of bacteria. You promote diversity. The amount of fiber matters. Most Americans consume only about 15 grams of fiber per day. The recommended amount is at least 25 to 30 grams per day for women, 35 to 40 grams per day for men. But if your microbiota is severely dysbiotic, if you are not used to eating much fiber, you should increase your fiber intake gradually. Adding too much fiber too quickly can cause bloating and discomfort because your dysbiotic microbiota is not adapted to fermenting large amounts of fiber. Increase by a few grams per day over weeks until you reach the recommended amount. The third step is to consider probiotics. Probiotics are beneficial bacteria that you consume as supplements or in fermented foods. They can help restore your microbiota. But not all probiotics are equally effective. The most effective probiotics are specific strains that have been studied and shown to improve health. Generic probiotics with many different species are often less effective than specific strains. The best probiotics are those that have been studied for the specific condition you are trying to treat. Fermented foods are also helpful. Yogurt with live cultures, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, miso, tempeh, kombucha. These foods contain live bacteria. They can help restore your microbiota. But the number of bacteria in fermented foods is usually lower than in supplements. Fermented foods are helpful, but they are usually not sufficient on their own to restore a severely dysbiotic microbiota. The fourth step is to consider prebiotics. Prebiotics are non-digestible food components that selectively stimulate the growth of beneficial bacteria. Inulin, fructooligosaccharides, and other prebiotic fibers can help promote the growth of beneficial bacteria. These can be obtained from foods like onions, garlic, leeks, asparagus, and bananas, or they can be taken as supplements. Prebiotics are particularly helpful when combined with probiotics. The fifth step is to optimize your sleep. Sleep is when your microbiota does its most important work. Sleep is when your intestinal barrier is repaired. Sleep is when your immune system is educated by your microbiota. Sleep is when your microbiota produces the most neurotransmitters and short-chain fatty acids. If you want to restore your microbiota, you must prioritize sleep. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Maintain a consistent sleep schedule. Go to bed at the same time every night. Wake up at the same time every morning. This consistency helps synchronize your circadian rhythms with your microbial rhythms. The sixth step is to manage your stress. Stress dysbioses your microbiota. It increases your cortisol levels. It affects your sleep. It increases inflammation. Managing your stress is crucial for restoring your microbiota. Find practices that calm your nervous system. Meditation, yoga, deep breathing, spending time in nature, spending time with loved ones, engaging in creative activities. These practices reduce stress and promote microbial health. The seventh step is to be patient. Restoring your microbiota takes time. Studies show that it can take months to years to fully restore a severely dysbiotic microbiota. But the benefits begin to appear quickly. Within weeks, you might notice improvements in your digestion, your mood, your energy, your skin. Within months, more significant improvements. Within a year, substantial transformation. But this requires consistency. You must maintain your healthy diet, your sleep, your stress management, your probiotics. You cannot restore your microbiota and then return to your old habits. The dysbiosis will return. The eighth step is to monitor your progress. Pay attention to how you feel. Notice changes in your digestion, your mood, your energy, your skin, your weight. These are signs that your microbiota is improving. You might want to keep a journal. Write down what you eat, how you sleep, how you feel. Over time, patterns will emerge. You will see the connection between your diet, your sleep, your stress, and your health. And some people benefit from working with a functional medicine doctor or a nutritionist who specializes in microbiota health. These practitioners can help you develop a personalized plan to restore your microbiota. They can help you choose appropriate probiotics and prebiotics. They can help you develop a diet that feeds your beneficial bacteria. They can help you address the root causes of your dysbiosis. The goal is not to achieve perfection, it is to achieve balance. It is to create conditions where your beneficial bacteria can thrive. It is to restore the harmony between you and the trillions of beings that live within you. This restoration is not just about treating disease. It is about achieving true health, about becoming whole, about recognizing yourself as an ecosystem and taking care of that ecosystem. The symphony of coexistence. We have traveled together through the invisible world within you. We have seen the complexity, the beauty, the fragility of your microbial community. We have learned how dysbiosis leads to disease. We have learned how restoration leads to health. But now we arrive at a deeper understanding, a philosophical recognition that changes how we see ourselves and our relationship with the natural world. You are not an individual. You are a superorganism. You are a community. You are an ecosystem. Every cell in your body is not purely you. Every cell is a negotiation between your human genome and the genomes of trillions of microbes. Every function in your body is a collaboration between human and microbial biology. Your digestion is not your digestion alone. It is a dance between your enzymes and your microbes' enzymes. Your immunity is not your immunity alone. It is a conversation between your immune cells and your microbes. Your mood is not your mood alone. It is influenced by neurotransmitters produced by your microbes. Your metabolism is not your metabolism alone. It is regulated by molecules produced by your microbes. This realization is humbling. It challenges our sense of individual autonomy. We like to think we are in control, that our bodies are entirely ours, that our choices are entirely our own. But the truth is more nuanced. We are in constant communication with the beings that live within us. Our choices affect them. Their responses affect us. We are interdependent. We are symbiotic. This is not a new idea. Symbiosis is ancient. It is the fundamental pattern of life. Every organism on Earth is a symbiotic community. The plants that feed us are symbiotic communities of plant cells and mycorrhizal fungi. The soil beneath our feet is a symbiotic community of minerals, water, and trillions of microorganisms. The oceans are symbiotic communities of fish, plankton, algae, and bacteria. The forests are symbiotic communities of trees, fungi, insects, and microorganisms. Life is not about competition and dominance. Life is about cooperation and symbiosis. Your body is a microcosm of this larger pattern. You are a symbiotic community within a symbiotic community within a symbiotic community. You are part of a family, which is a symbiotic community. You are part of a society, which is a symbiotic community. You are part of an ecosystem, which is a symbiotic community. You are part of a biosphere, which is a symbiotic community. Everything is connected. Everything is interdependent. Understanding this changes how we approach health. Health is not about fighting against our bodies. It is not about conquering disease through force. It is about creating harmony, about restoring balance, about recognizing the needs of the community within us and creating conditions where that community can thrive. This is why the conventional medical approach, while valuable for acute emergencies, is often insufficient for chronic disease. Chronic diseases like depression, obesity, autoimmune disease, metabolic disease are not something that can be conquered with a single drug or a single procedure. They are diseases of dysbiosis, of imbalance, of a broken symbiosis. They require restoration of harmony, not just suppression of symptoms. This is why the most powerful medicine is often the simplest. Food is medicine, sleep is medicine, stress reduction is medicine. These are not metaphors. These are literally the interventions that restore microbial balance, that restore symbiosis, that restore health. They are more powerful than any drug because they address root causes rather than just symptoms. When you eat food rich in fiber, you are not just feeding yourself, you are feeding your microbes. You are making a choice to support your symbiotic partners. When you sleep deeply, you are not just resting, you are giving your microbes time to do their work. You are giving your intestinal barrier time to repair. You are giving your immune system time to be educated. You are making a choice to support your symbiosis. When you reduce your stress, you are not just improving your mental health. You are creating conditions where your microbes can thrive. You are restoring the chemical environment that allows symbiosis to flourish. The recognition that you are a symbiotic community also changes how we approach medications. Antibiotics, while sometimes necessary for acute infections, should not be used casually. Every antibiotic use damages your microbial community. It is like burning down part of a forest to fight a single pest. Sometimes it is necessary. Sometimes the pest poses a greater threat than the damage from the antibiotic. But often, antibiotics are used unnecessarily. They are used for viral infections which antibiotics cannot treat. They are used for minor infections that could be fought off by your own immune system. Every unnecessary antibiotic use damages your symbiosis. The same is true for other medications. Proton pump inhibitors, which reduce stomach acid, damage your microbiota. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs damage your intestinal barrier. Hormonal contraceptives alter your microbiota. None of these medications are inherently bad. Sometimes they are necessary, but their effects on your microbiota should be understood. If you are taking one of these medications, you should be extra vigilant about supporting your microbiota through diet, sleep, and stress management. The recognition that you are a symbiotic community also changes how we approach diet. The standard American diet, high in processed foods, low in fiber, is not just unhealthy for you, it is unhealthy for your microbes. It is dysbiotic. It starves your beneficial bacteria and feeds your harmful bacteria. When you eat a whole foods diet, rich in plant foods, rich in fiber, you are not just feeding yourself, you are feeding your beneficial bacteria. You are creating conditions where symbiosis can flourish. The recognition that you are a symbiotic community also changes how we approach sleep. Sleep is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It is when your body does its most important work. It is when your microbes do their most important work. It is when your intestinal barrier is repaired. It is when your immune system is educated. Sleep deprivation is not just unhealthy for your brain, it is dysbiotic. It disrupts your microbial clocks. It prevents your microbes from doing their work. It damages your symbiosis. This deeper understanding also brings a sense of peace. You are not alone. You have never been alone. Even when you feel isolated, even when you feel unsupported, you have trillions of beings within you working to keep you alive, working to keep you healthy, working to support your existence. They are not conscious in the way you are conscious, but they are alive. They are purposeful. They are caring for you in the way that symbiotic partners care for each other. When you sleep tonight, know that your microbes are working for you. They are fermenting the food from your dinner. They are producing the vitamins that your cells need. They are producing the neurotransmitters that will influence your mood tomorrow. They are communicating with your immune system. They are strengthening your intestinal barrier. They are working to keep you healthy. They are your partners. They are your symbiotic community, and you are theirs. Your role in the dance. We have journeyed together through the invisible kingdom within you. We have learned that you are not alone, that you are a superorganism, that your health is the health of a community. We have learned how dysbiosis leads to disease and how restoration leads to health. We have learned that true health is harmony, that true medicine is creating conditions where symbiosis can flourish. Now we arrive at the final understanding, your role in this dance. You are not a passive passenger in your body. You are not just a collection of cells that your microbes happen to inhabit. You are an active participant in your symbiosis. Every choice you make affects your microbiota. Every decision you make about food, sleep, stress, and medicine ripples through your microbial community. You have power. You have agency. You have the ability to restore your symbiosis. This power begins with awareness. Before you can change anything, you must understand what is happening. You must recognize that your body is a community. You must recognize that dysbiosis is not a single disease, but a state of imbalance that leads to many diseases. You must recognize that you have the power to restore balance. This awareness alone is transformative. It shifts your perspective. It empowers you. It gives you hope. The next step is to take action. Small actions, consistent actions, are more powerful than dramatic gestures. You do not need to transform your life overnight. You can start with one change. Eat one more serving of vegetables. Sleep 30 minutes earlier. Take a 10-minute walk to reduce stress. Drink one less cup of coffee. These small changes might seem insignificant, but they are not. They are signals to your microbiota. They are creating conditions where your beneficial bacteria can begin to flourish. As you make these small changes, as you feel the benefits, you will be motivated to make more changes. You will eat more vegetables. You will sleep more. You will walk more. You will reduce your stress. These changes will accumulate. Over weeks and months, they will transform your health. Your digestion will improve. Your mood will improve. Your energy will improve. Your skin will improve. You will lose weight. Your inflammation will decrease. You will feel better than you have felt in years. This transformation is not magical. It is biological. It is the result of restoring your microbiota, of restoring symbiosis, of creating conditions where your beneficial bacteria can thrive and produce the metabolites and molecules that your body needs to be healthy. The changes you make are powerful because they address the root causes of disease, not just the symptoms. As you experience this transformation, you will develop a deeper understanding of your body. You will begin to listen to the signals it sends. You will notice how different foods affect how you feel. You will notice how sleep affects your mood. You will notice how stress affects your digestion. You will develop an intuitive understanding of what your body needs. This intuition is real. Your body is communicating with you. Your microbes are communicating with you. The more you listen, the better you understand what they need. You will also develop a sense of responsibility. You will realize that your choices matter, not just for you, but for the trillions of beings that live within you. When you choose to eat processed food, you are choosing to dysbiose your microbiota. When you choose to sleep less, you are choosing to prevent your microbiota from doing their work. When you choose to be stressed, you are choosing to create an environment where dysbiosis thrives. These choices have consequences, but this responsibility is not burdensome. It is empowering. It means that you have control. You have the ability to support your symbiosis. You have the ability to create health. You are not at the mercy of your genes. You are not at the mercy of your circumstances. You are an active participant in your health. Your choices matter. This is why we have shared this knowledge with you. We want you to understand that you are not alone. We want you to understand that disease is not inevitable. We want you to understand that you have the power to heal. We want you to understand that true health is possible, not through force or struggle, but through harmony, through symbiosis, through creating conditions where the beings within you can thrive. As you sleep tonight, as you close your eyes and rest, know that your microbes are working for you. Know that they are fermenting the food from your dinner. Know that they are producing the vitamins that your cells need. Know that they are producing the neurotransmitters that regulate your mood. Know that they are communicating with your immune system. Know that they are strengthening your intestinal barrier. Know that they are working to keep you healthy, to keep you alive, to support your existence. Your sleep is not empty. Your sleep is not unconscious inactivity. Your sleep is a time of profound activity, of intense collaboration between you and your microbes, of restoration and repair and growth. Your sleep is sacred. Your sleep is medicine. Your sleep is the foundation of your health. The choices you make tomorrow matter. The food you eat matters. The sleep you get matters. The stress you experience matters. The medications you take matter. All of these choices affect your microbiota. All of these choices affect your symbiosis. All of these choices affect your health. Make them consciously. Make them with awareness. Make them with intention. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Thank you for opening yourself to this knowledge. Thank you for recognizing that you are a symbiotic community, that you are an ecosystem, that you are part of something larger than yourself. If this experience has brought you understanding, if it has shifted your perspective, if it has empowered you to take action, we ask that you give this video a like and subscribe to Relaxing Science. Share this knowledge with others. Help them understand that they are not alone, that they have the power to heal, that true health is possible. Tell us below, what will be your first step? Will you eat more vegetables? Will you prioritize sleep? Will you start a meditation practice? Will you reduce your antibiotic use? Whatever your first step, know that it matters. Know that it will have ripples through your microbiota, through your symbiosis, through your health. Know that you are beginning a journey toward true healing, toward true health, toward true wholeness. We invite you to return to relaxing science whenever you need to be reminded of these truths, whenever you need to remember that you are not alone, whenever you need to remember that you have the power to heal, whenever you need to remember that true health is possible. We will be here sharing knowledge, sharing wonder, helping you understand the invisible worlds within you and around you. Sleep well tonight. Rest deeply. Let your microbes work. Let your body repair. Let your symbiosis flourish. Tomorrow you will wake refreshed, understanding more fully who you are, understanding more fully that you are a superorganism, a community, a symphony of collaboration between you and the trillions of beings that make you whole. This is your true nature. This is the reality of life. And this is the foundation of true health. End of screenplay total.